We were dispatched here to Sacramento Housing. It's a high-rise residential apartment. It's 9 stories tall. And our first arriving companies actually found quite a bit of smoke that was coming out of the first through the third floors. This is a call that we get quite a bit. These fires are usually contained to one occupancy, and it's usually just overheated food on a stove. Alarm bell is ringing. So our crews are very familiar with the layout of the building and what usually occurs here. So they turned the corner tonight and there was smoke showing first through third floor. We know that this time of day it's highly occupied. A lot of people are trying to get out of the building. We're very fortunate that we have the staffing level that we do because we're able to get enough firefighters here to get the people out, get them to a safe place. We got the fire knocked down incredibly fast, and it was in just one kitchen in one unit on the first floor on the east side of the building. That being the seat of the fire, this obvious heat and smoke tends to rise, and it causes a lot of problems through the rest of the floors throughout the rest of the building. Again, very fortunate that we were able to get the people escorted down the stairwell and into a place where fresh air was. Initially, we thought we were going to have several patients, a multi-casualty incident, but we only ended up with 3 people that had some minor complaints of smoke inhalation. And once they got to the fresh air, they started feeling better. Nobody transported tonight, but we had several ambulances lined up in anticipation that we're going to be transporting at least a dozen of these. We tried to evacuate the whole building, and we do this by triaging the building. We look at it, first thing that we want to do is send the crews to the fire floor to get the seat of the fire, stop the problem from getting bigger. The next priority is to get the crews to the second floor to make sure there's no extension. There was an extension, but there was actually some smoke on the second floor, so crews go door by door, trying to get the people out of their residence, down to stairwell, down to the fresh air. We did this systematically, first through the 6th floor, and then conditions were such on the upper floors that there was no need to evacuate. There were actually people that were reported trapped on the 2nd floor, on the opposite side, the back of the building. There was one person that was actually in a wheelchair, non-ambulatory. They wheeled themselves out to the balcony, probably to get some fresh air. Our fire crews went there and actually alleviated the problem pretty quickly. We tended to the person, make sure they were okay, and we just had to shut that sliding glass door.
People didn't really know what was going on. It was a few minutes had gone by, and people were still kind of clueless as to there even being a fire here at all. So I started yelling fire, fire at the top of my lungs, and people slowly started coming out. And then the fire department came, and then they took care of it from there. People coming out choking and wheezing from the smoke inhalation, but other than that, I don't think anybody was directly injured from the fire itself.
You guys recently had some high-rise, some very extensive high-rise training that you were doing downtown. Tell us about that and how that came into play with this fire tonight.
You know, one of the biggest benefits of our high-rise training is it's not just a Sacramento Fire Department, it's a regional drill. If we have an event just like we had tonight, a working fire in a downtown high-rise, the city of Sacramento has to rely on mutual aid resources. We had Metro Fire Chiefs, West Sacramento engines coming over. So the training that we just had actually familiarizes the entire region with our operations. And seeing that we just did this, the crews are familiar with advancing 2.5-inch hose and stairwells, how to recall elevators, knowing how to use the systems in the building. All of our chiefs are on the same page as far as a communications plan. So the timing of this, extremely beneficial that we just reviewed this just within the last few weeks.
Recalling elevators, how important that is that to people in the building, and how does that help firefighters?
You know what? We want people to go to the stairwells. In fact, we try to direct them to a specific stairwell that we're not using. Some of the things that we're doing now is putting large ventilation fans in the stairwell so they're not going to get the smoky conditions. We want to get them into the fresh air, out of the building as efficiently as possible. Oftentimes those elevators will malfunction. If there's enough heat in an elevator lobby, it's been shown in the past that it will actually activate the button and call that elevator to the floor. So firefighters will recall those elevators, and then we use them in a manual mode where we actually have to continue to push buttons, continue to turn the key to get the elevator to do exactly what we want it to do. And it's incredibly important for us to get all the equipment up to the floors, at least a couple floors below the fire. So it's an invaluable tool for firefighters.